Welcome to the beginning of the webinar. We're about to start and go live. I want to welcome all of you guys who have found your way here. And tonight we're going to discuss something that hopefully is as interesting to you as it is to me. And if you don't already recognize my voice, I am Jennifer. I am the voice behind Thermal Mermaid. You may have come here from my YouTube channel. You may be watching my YouTube videos or from some other means. And tonight's a little bit different because tonight I'm actually speaking live. This isn't my normal edited tutorial videos that you might be used to hearing. So we're going to make lots of mistakes tonight, and bear with me. And I'm going to have a discussion, an open conversation tonight about really the thing that motivates me and interests me and has me absolutely obsessed, the thing that drives me to wake up every single day. And some of you might think that it's soap making, cosmetic making, tutorial making, and going out to the market and selling my things to people and interacting. And probably those of you who think that are coming here from my Facebook group, because that really is the hobby that I enjoy doing. Not as much as I enjoy the people that I interact with who also have picked up this hobby. I think that's kind of the thing that's stuck me to that soap making world, is because the women and men that I interact with are generally very happy people, and I'm really enjoying my interactions in this way, to use social networking this way, because as we all know who've been around for a little while, not all social networking hubs are pleasant places to experience. So it just seems, for me anyway, in my experience, the people who I've been sharing my exchanges with in the world of soap making have been really pleasant and a really nice way to spend my time. So if you guys are part of that group and you found your way here, then I want to welcome you right now. And let's get into a discussion that I think will be intriguing to you, and hopefully as much as it is for me. So in the next 40 minutes or so, I'm going to talk to you about how to take artisan soap making and cosmetic making into building a small business, but I want to talk about just how unique this business is and how it fits into the right now of successful startups, and how many ways that you can leverage your own angle and make handmade soap craft a small business. So let me tell you what you're going to learn in this webinar. 1, how a soap and cosmetic business is the right now of beginning entrepreneurship. 2, how you can make it a hybrid online and real-world business customized around your skills and to fit the needs of your lifestyle. And 3, how you can start this successfully at literally any level of skill. You do not have to be a seasoned business entrepreneur in order to start doing this for yourself. You just learn some skills, it's easy to do, and you do it. Now, it's not a hard stretch to imagine the benefits of being the guy who owns the business. You can control how you spend your time. You don't have to ask permission to take a nap at 3 o'clock in the afternoon if that's really how you want to break up your day. You have no boss over your shoulder. You can do your work in your pajamas with a cup of coffee in your hand if that's really what you want to do. Or you can be out dressed to the nines on the street, meeting people, selling your creations to markets and grocery stores. The profit that you bring in is yours. Nobody's going to be cutting you off at $15 after an hour goes by, and you can make as much as you choose to. And being the owner of your own business, it's really whatever you grasp in your imagination. You can make that happen. You could even build a business on the side just to pay off your house 20 years ahead of time if that's what you really wanted to do. Now, I know if your business is still in that daydreaming stage, that sounds like a leap, but it's not. People do this every day, and you see people do this every day. So there's no reason why you can't either. And if you've been dreaming of doing something for yourself, the first hurdle is, of course, where do I start? Now, before we finish this webinar tonight, I'm going to offer everyone who listens a special bonus to get all the learning material that you'll need to help you get this dream started. Now, this is going to be limited to the first 100 people. Then after that, the offer goes away. We just move on. So if you do stick around to the end, you'll get to find out about this. But first, let me tell you just a little bit about who I am. My name is Jennifer Tainan. I live in Connecticut. I'm a single mom of 2 kids who they're now grown and have kids of their own. Years ago, I went to the University of Connecticut where I studied anthropology. I came out of there and I worked as an archaeologist. This was really all I ever cared about. It's the only thing I ever wanted to do. It's the only thing I ever thought about. And I really didn't imagine anything else. And so you might be thinking, oh, but that's not a real job that people do in the real world. Well, I'll tell you that it is. As an archaeologist, you're mostly a subcontractor in the private sector. You usually work for an environmental company. And not only did I do this for a lot of years, but when my kids were small, I used to bring them with me, set them up in the corner with a trowel and a screen, and they'd mostly screen for ants and bugs, but they would sit there and work side by side with me while I was fulfilling my contracts, collect my data, send it back to the company. Now, back in the day, this job paid about $15 an hour, which was good, but it wasn't buy a house and raise 2 kids kind of good. And I was stuck because I really never thought about anything else that I was ever going to do. So I had to readjust and I had to come up with a plan. And so in 2007, I did the same thing that just about everyone else was trying to do in 2007. I made an eBay store. You remember that, when eBay was a really big deal? I know nobody really uses eBay anymore, but there was a time when people did fairly well. And it was a big deal for a reason. Within 2 months, I was making $7,000 a week in sales on eBay. And guess who was making a ton of money? Yeah, eBay was. So after buying the inventory and paying for the shipping, I would end up owing eBay $1,200 for every $300 that I made. So that $20,000 a month was just barely covering my mortgage. So wrap your head around that. What a disappointment. So I went out into the deep waters of the internet and I opened up my own children's clothing store. And within 2 years, I had 7 employees, a 2-story boutique on a main strip in my city, and I was doing millions in sales. Now here's some pictures of the inside of the store. And frankly, the internet sales were so busy that I really didn't need the overhead of the store. But what I needed was a place to get access to all these dresses and package hundreds of these dresses every day. So the store did have its purpose. Here's a picture of my daughter trying on one of these trendy ball gowns. So when I tell you that I know how to take a small business from literally nothing and build it into a beast of its own, I do know what I'm talking about. Now this business that you see here, it's still up and kicking, only I learned after a few years I really didn't want to be tied to this physical location, so I did make some adjustments to it. Now the reason that this business was successful when it happened had a lot to do with timing. Now back then, not everyone could get access to an e-commerce store. You had to have programming skills. Also, I studied the balls off dozens of businesses on eBay before I sunk $1 into the choice I made, which was children's clothes. And there were specific strategies and a lot of work that went into that project. I didn't just blow up to a $20,000 a month business in only 6 weeks by accident. Those things don't happen by accident. But as the decade has passed, there are things that I've learned now that I didn't know when I just first started that business from the beginning. And one of those things is that no matter what I could possibly teach you, you probably won't ever sell the amount of little girls' dresses on the internet that I sold in 2010 ever again as an out-of-nowhere startup. First of all, Google is just not going to allow that to happen for free. And second, my largest corporate competitor, which was David's Bridal, had an ad budget at the time probably in the millions. They were absolutely everywhere. They've already filed for bankruptcy. They don't exist anymore. So the particular angle that I was using, that a lot of other people coming up around me were using, and that some of the giant big box company store corporations were also using, that angle has changed. It's not gone. The business isn't gone. People still buy clothes for their children, but the angle that we were using has changed. So the actions that I took and the methods that I used 10 years ago definitely would not work today as a business startup. But of course, there are businesses that still have a low barrier of entry that can and will work. And right now, soap and cosmetics is one of them. This is what I do every day. This is what I'm working on every day. And this is the thing that's intriguing me and absolutely fascinating me right now as I've seen these changes take place over time. This is absolutely attainable, but the key is that you have to take action while you can get in, because just like in my past businesses, there's no guarantee that that entry will last forever. So let's get straight into what I'm talking about. 10 years ago, I used the internet as a way to reach people entirely in my business model. I could effectively open up my laptop, spend a few hours programming, and then have the sales come to me, where I would just go over to my office and then ship them out. Take that even one step further, and there are even these business models on the internet where people do affiliate marketing, they do email marketing and such. You've seen them. They're these laptop beachcombers where the model is 1 to 2% of the marketers make millions, gazillions of dollars, and then everybody else makes about $60 a month. Problem is, if you aren't good at it, when you close your computer, you have nothing. You haven't really built anything, and you probably spent your day selling something for somebody else. And so this just doesn't work for most people. It also isn't very inspiring for a lot of people. It's kind of like being that 14-year-old kid that stays at home from school. It's awesome for about 3 days, and then on the 4th day, you're still in your pajamas, you got a cold cup of coffee, there's no other kids to play with. There's a really good chance that if you're starting a small business for yourself, you need something tangible in your hand so that you can see it. Something that belongs to you and that you can actually physically sell to somebody else. Now, the internet, it can be used as leverage in many ways, and we'll get to that into a bit, but if you live in the real world, you want to get your product to people in the real world. And this is where soap making is the key to your cosmetic business. First, the United States has over 65,000 farmers markets and flea markets. At any given moment, you can look up one of these places and you can start to sell as soon as you book yourself a booth. You don't need a computer, you don't need programming skills, or you don't need to lease out a huge store in a strip mall. You can just sell what you've learned to make as soon as you can locate a booth. Second, soap is not regulated like cosmetics are. You do not need a permit to sell your soap. You're free to make it in your crafting room or in your kitchen, and you could sell it in your front yard if you want to. I don't know if you want to do that, but let me tell you, I have done that, and it's brought me $200 on a Saturday afternoon. And third, just like in the business of hamburgers and pizzas, people will always buy soap. It's always needed. And I'll mention even more popular now that people are becoming more aware of the chemicals in the cheap mass-produced products. So this is it. It's just that simple. Every now and again in life, you come across a door that'll give you access to a new adventure, and the door here, it isn't locked. In fact, it's even cracked open a little bit. This is an easy barrier to entry, and as soon as you learn how to make a batch of soap, which you can make for about $10, and then you cut it into slices, which you can sell for a total of $50, yep, you do the math there, you just replicate that over and over again, and before you know it, you have a functioning business. You don't need anyone's approval. You don't need anyone standing over you to tell you what to do. You can learn to sell online, or you can go out into the real world for the price of a market table, which is about $25 in most places. And before you know it, meeting people face to face will actually expand your ability to sell online because people will come to you wherever you're marketing. And having a presence online will actually give you more credibility when you're meeting people face to face. It's a place where they can find you as an afterthought once you've passed out your card and once you've sold a few pieces of your product to them. So these things can work in sync. This is the wave of the future for entry-level small businesses. It's not the way it was 10 years ago. We're going into a different model, a different technique, and a different angle to get yourself anchored into your presence so that you can grow and expand your business and get into the next levels of growing and being your own business owner. Now here I'm going to show you something to get you over that first hurdle of how and where to start. Because right up until this point, you've been in that daydream stage with your business idea, and now I'm going to show you how to take the action that you need to get started. Now, if we go over here to thermalmermaid.com, I'm going to take you directly into the membership section of this website where I have a dashboard organized with everything you could want to know about how to make a commercial quality cosmetic and then get them into the different marketplaces. In this dashboard, as you see right here, we have 10 lessons that are broken up and organized into blocks of information. Now, the first 3 lessons is everything that you could possibly need to know about how to make soap. In about 4 hours worth of video instruction and a book with over a dozen recipes, you'll learn everything that there is about the craft of soap making. Now, if you do nothing else with this course, this is something you won't ever unlearn, and it's really just a neat thing to know. Now, from that point, if you wanted to, you could jump right over into getting out into the world with your business, and you can go over to lessons 8 to 10, where you can start learning how to market, how to set up an online presence, and find a physical market listed over in our market directory that's near you. We'll go into how to apply to state fairs, Renaissance fairs, local farmers markets, even flea markets. Now, these things all have something in common. They're all small, mobile-style stands where you can get out into the world and you can sell your brand while you're building your online presence. And this is what's going to help you get into the next stage of your business. Even if that's something that you want to do, you may just enjoy this stage and want to carry on in this way. But if you want to increase and grow, then what we're going to do is we're going to go out into the world in a small mobile style stand while we grow our online business, and we're going to use those two things to work with each other as the business and brand expands until we can get into the next stage. Now, while you're doing this, you might want your product and brand to have your own look and style. And soon, after you learn how to make the soap, you'll discover that there are hundreds of styles and designs and fragrances and colors that you can use to make it your very own. Some recipes can get even pretty complicated, and that's why I have an intermediate section and an advanced section chock full of over 24 more recipes that you can work on to grow your skills and your brand products. Now, after a while, you might want to expand even further and then get into cosmetic making. Those are things like bath bombs and lotions and shampoos and sugar scrubs, and I could just keep going on. At this point, you'll need to know how these items are regulated and who to contact to make sure that you can legally do this. And so we have all that guidance and information for you there as well. And once you've made that choice, you can go down here to the recipe directory where I have hundreds more recipes that include cosmetics that you can make all at a commercial quality. So all of these things can be made and sold at a store brand quality. And we have everything in printable format ready to be printed if you want to start working immediately. Now, I'll mention too that you're free to use all of these recipes for your sales and put your brand labels on them however you like. Now, if there's something that you're looking for that you can't quite find in the recipe directory, then come back on over here to lesson 10, where I have a section of bonus ebooks. You can find all of these 12 books in PDF form. These are the same books that are all published on Amazon, and you have access to all of them here inside the membership directory, ready to be downloaded. So as you can clearly see, there is a ton of information in this course, and there's always more being added to it every day. I'm constantly building. But what's the main goal of the information that's gathered here? This dashboard is a centralized hub that will give you information on every aspect that you need to know about starting, making, and running an entry-level cosmetic business, and then building that into the next level business. Inside this dashboard, you've got access to all the questions that will come up if you were starting from scratch. You could literally just be an alien that hatched from an egg in the woods, and if you have access to this dashboard, you could be up and working on your small soap and cosmetic business tomorrow. Now, this information, what it'll do is it'll teach you a real skill, something that when you learn, you're always going to know how to do. Now, that's different from someone who's going to teach you internet or affiliate marketing from your laptop so you can have that beach drifter lifestyle. This is completely different. Now, by the way, I'm not knocking on people who love internet marketing. That's a completely special breed of people out there. Some people are very good at it, but the thing is, most people aren't. And this course, it's built for letting the average person succeed too, not just some niche genius. This is something that anybody can do. So once you learn how to do something as simple as making soap, you can tailor your sales methods to fit your personality, whether you're a person who likes to go out and be face-to-face with others, or maybe you're at home all day with other responsibilities, or maybe you're just a night owl and you actually prefer to work on your computer. Whatever it is that is your personality, that's what you can use to kind of ignite your inspiration and get started with your business. Now that you have something physical in your hand that you've created on your own, you can take the skills that you have and start incorporating them in to creating a platform for selling this product and getting it out into the world. Now, one of the gems of this startup choice is that you can do it in the time frame that fits you. Now, maybe you want to take your time and develop a craft before you're ready to show the world your style, or maybe you want to get into business immediately. As soon as you make your first product, it'll be ready to sell in about a month, and you can start making your investment back as soon as you start selling. Now, the cost is anywhere, as I said before, from $10 to $20 to make about 12 to 15 bars of handmade soap. That's what it would cost you. And these bars will sell from anywhere from $5 to $12 per bar, depending on your market. Now, yesterday, I was at my big chain grocery store, and there is a local soap maker that has her display down at one of the end caps that the grocery store has placed in there, and her 4-ounce bars were selling at $7 a bar. And this is what the grocery store expected to sell for this item. Now, if you scout out over at your local Whole Foods, or if you have a Trader Joe's or a comparable market somewhere near you, you can quickly compare these prices and you can see that people will pay prices that can mean a 400% profit margin for you if you're selling the exact same thing at your farmer's market table. Now, wrap your head around that for a minute, because this means you could start a business today and start becoming profitable immediately. Now, before we wrap up here tonight, guys, I did tell you at the beginning of the webinar that I was going to make you an offer for the first 100 people who come over and join me over at thermalmermaid.com. Membership is currently available. It's open as we speak. Now, you might think at this point that I'm going to make you some sort of an astronomical pitch, and I'm not. I'm absolutely not. The membership is currently set at $4.99 a month. Literally, it's almost nothing. When I say that I'm working on a project that's made for people who are just starting out and they don't have a lot to invest, I really mean it. For $5 a month, you can have a field day on all the material in this course. Now, some of you might be annoyed with a monthly membership, and I do have an annual registration for $29, and that's even 35% off the monthly fee, because I know I don't really care too much for small charges on my credit card every single month, and watching those tiny little numbers roll by. It's kind of annoying, but this offer at $4.99 a month, it's made for people who just really need to get some direction, and they can't invest their kitchen sink. That's who it's meant for. It's meant to guide these people who are just interested in learning a new skill, who need something to grasp, and can see and have just enough wherewithal to have the vision that there is an opportunity to start this business at this time, and it does work. And once you start getting your feet wet with developing a new skill and seeing that you really can do this, then it'll start to take on a life of its own. And then you'll start to see that this is something that you could really stick around for. Now, just as a small reminder, the 12 books on Amazon alone, they would cost you over $160. That's what they normally sell for. And this work is complete, and it's sitting there for just a couple dollars for those of you who really want to learn it. Now, if you're still not sure why the price is set so low, there's no catch. It's completely risk-free. If you want to cancel, you don't need my permission. You don't have to pay a fee or anything like that. You just click on a button inside the dashboard, and you have complete control over cancellations if that's what you want to do. The only catch is, and this is for the only for the first 100 people who sign up from today, from this point on. Once we hit 100 additional subscribers, the price will go up again, and it won't be available at that price anymore. So if you're ready to explore a new business and you just need the information right in the palm of your hand on how to implement those beginning steps, then I know that you've already made that decision to come over and join me inside at thermalmermaid.com. Now, if you're ready to start the registration, links are below and you can get started right now. So I guess I'll sign off and we'll see you inside.